So I just watched Cats. Cats is a Broadway musical that really does suck. I feel like everyone just looks at how much money it made and how visually stunning the stuff on stage looked, but really it's just the Broadway equivalent of Independence Day. All fluff, no substance. All the songs are just introductions to the characters, and there are like 20 of them. The idea is that every single one of these cats is competing to be sent to this place called the Heaviside Lair, and the way one of them is picked is for some old cat lady to hold an American Idol-esque competition to see who deserves to be chosen. It never gave you the chance to connect with any of the characters or understand them past their allotted 3 minutes. But the story was never the point. It was to sell a soundtrack. When I was in 3rd grade, we watched the Broadway production of Cats over the course of 2 days, and we had to write about every single song and character and who they were. In hindsight, I like it as a literary analysis exercise, but there are way too many characters, and this play is way too stupid to get any good analysis out of it. So I already didn't like Cats going into it, and anyone who did theater knows it's kind of bullshit already. But then in 2019, they decided to make a musical with an incomprehensible plot into a movie. And let me tell ya, this is one of the most magical things I've ever seen. Do you remember how you felt when the original Sonic trailer dropped and this happened?
Meow?
That brief moment of discomfort you felt is the entirety of Cats. Before rewatching it on digital, I actually watched the movie the weekend before Christmas, so I got the original version before they patched the unfinished special effects. The plight of this movie's special effects is just incredible. When people have been saying that the effects were unfinished, they don't mean it looks bad. They mean there were moments that were just plain not done. There were scenes where Dame Judi Dench's hand weren't animated and they just kept her wedding ring. There were sleeves that weren't edited out. There were times in the completed version, mind you, that characters were clipping through the floor. There were times where the animated bodies and the cat faces weren't even in sync. Any clothing on the cats, from dresses to collars, felt like they were a few frames behind the cat body. It was so bafflingly bad that I'm shocked that this movie just wasn't delayed. At the premiere of it, Tom Hooper said that they finished the movie at 8 a.m. the previous day, with the home stretch being a 36-hour straight edit session. So the movie was edited with the same kind of mindset as a film school senior who procrastinated and needed to pull an all-nighter to get his project done. We've all been there. The unfinished effects were just the icing on the cake, because even when they did line up in Cat's favor, every frame of this movie still looked disgusting. These fully CG cat bodies are stuff of absolute nightmares. The costumes in the stage show were scraggly and messy. With suspension of disbelief, it helps sell that these were alley cats, whereas almost every cat here just looks too human to believe as an animal. And without the dances or choreographed and how the actors move, it feels like I just walked into the foreplay of a furry orgy rather than a musical. Okay, now before we begin, can everyone please sing about their fursona? Every single one of these characters have no personality. The only insight that we have to the members of this cult are their 3 to 4 minute songs that they all have. But good luck getting anything from the lyrics because the music was mixed so badly that I couldn't understand what was going on. Ian McKellen didn't have a gigantic troupe of cats doing rehearsed dance choreography to distract you. He sat on stage and sang the entire time, putting the focus entirely on his performance. But with how terribly it was mixed, you couldn't actually hear anything he was saying. It just sounded like mumbling as Ian McKellen looks uncomfortable with the CGI tail flowing behind him. But even if you could understand the lyrics, the movie goes out of its way to distract you with the weirdest and creepiest use of CGI I have ever seen. You know the only thing scarier than the unfinished visuals of Cats? The finished visual of Cats. You can never adjust to the cats the same way you can adjust to Pikachu. Yes, I am still doing this. Every scene in Cats feels like it's scaled differently, never giving the audience the ability to understand the space that we're watching. You know when you're having a nightmare and everything around you doesn't make sense? Like you sit in a chair normally, but then you look to the right and notice that the chair is massive and you're 4 inches tall? It's that feeling of helplessness concentrated into the set design of the movie. One scene they can sit in chairs, and another one they're smaller than the railing of a train track, and another they're on a normal-sized boat. It throws the already weird characters further into the uncanny valley because there is no frame of reference on what size these characters should actually be. Pair that with stuff like the dancing cockroaches and mice made of CGI with the same terrible human face, and you got yourself a nightmare I still haven't woken up from. Especially when Rebel Wilson eats one of them. Yeah. Tom Hooper has proven that he is a competent director, and he has proven to Universal that he can make a great film out of a musical in the past. But I think Universal severely misunderstood what made Les Mis a good movie. On the surface, I can see the connection as to why it would be a good idea, since both are musicals with little dialogue that has a large focus on juggling multiple characters, but that would be like saying George Lucas should direct Doctor Who since they're both about space wizards saving the galaxy. You can actually see a lot of the same techniques Tom Hooper used to make Les Mis actually make Cats actively worse. Les Mis incorporates a lot of close-ups in the way that it's all shot. All of the vocals for the music were done on set rather than pre-recorded, and this leads to the actors giving a performance that felt more real. I Dreamed a Dream hits so hard because Anne Hathaway is allowed to act rather than just look pretty while lip-syncing to something she did in a studio months ago. You hear the pain in her voice, holding back tears as she's trying to stay on melody. If you look at Cats, that whole thing takes on a whole new meaning. The movies are shot almost the exact same way, with close-ups dominating almost every frame, but rather than an emotional performance, all we get is more time looking at these ugly special effects. Since all the songs are pre-recorded, there is no room for these people to perform, meaning that the big-name talent they have doesn't work. We can all make fun of Russell Crowe singing, but the man can act. His performance is one reason why I liked his role in the movie. His weird vocals were only a part of his performance, and everything else makes up for it. But Ian McKellen can't act when his vocals are pre-recorded, and he has already made it clear that he hates this whole green screen sort of shoot. So the whole time he sings, it is a few different shots of him just standing there telling you how he used to be a great actor. I honestly feel bad for the man. If he hated The Hobbit, can you imagine what's going through his mind during this? So an amazing actor can't act and is forced to lip sync to a rather boring track while doing absolutely nothing, and the ones that can sing are so insufferable that you're glad that each of them are only getting one song each. I have really never cared for Rebel Wilson or James Corden. Each of their songs are everything I hate about every role they have, distilled into 4 minutes for each. And they are the only cats that have any semblance of personality outside of their songs. Early on in the movie, there are so many times during other Cats songs that just intercut Corden and Wilson doing some of their oh so hilarious banter. Their sequences are also some of the biggest and take the longest time, and are the only times the actors seem like they're able to perform, giving them jokes during their songs because they're so hilarious. The other big number is Taylor Swift's performance, but she has the least personality out of the entire cast. When you have a story dedicated to just being cats introducing themselves and telling you about who they are, and you use your biggest star to sing about another cat, then you've effectively wasted a character. It is also the biggest and flashiest number, being one of the only times that the special effects felt finished. There were times that felt like her face couldn't keep up with her cat body, but compared to how the rest of the movie looked, it was the only time I felt any sense of spectacle in this movie about being nothing but spectacle. It's almost like Universal knew that people would only be watching this movie for these three, so they just put all the money they could into actually finishing their scenes and nothing else. And if you're wondering why I haven't touched upon the story that much, it's because there is no story. When I said it was just American Idol for cats for 2 hours, I meant it. Dickless Idris Elba steals all the big-named actors after they do their one song for Judi Dench, and then they just break out themselves? That is like the entire runtime? Then Memories plays and you go like, finally, the movie's almost over. Then the movie just drags itself on a little longer as Dame Judi Dench just looks at you and makes sure to tell you that yes, cats are not dogs. I wish I were kidding. She stares directly into your soul, and for one brief minute, you think she'll tell you what the fuck a Jellicle cat is, because the movie never makes it clear what the hell they are other than abominations of CGI, but instead she just says, cat's not a dog, good night! But the song is 4 minutes of absolute nothing. There are so many moments you think it's going to end, but it keeps going. Cats is a movie everybody needs to watch once in their lifetime. It's just, they have to. It is a magical, nightmarish fever dream that is an experience I will never, ever forget. This is a train wreck. There is nothing in any part of this movie that's redeemable. My appendix rupturing was less painful than watching this, and that's why you need to watch this movie too. Because it's so amazing, so creepy, so weird that you're going to have an amazing time or you're gonna find out you're a furry. And that's what I thought of Cats, I guess. If you want to see my thoughts on more normal media, then click this playlist right over here. And why not subscribe so you know whenever I post a new video? Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.